Alright everyone, here it is, the penultimate finale to what is ULM. It's a big, super packed episode, so strap in with us now as we get into the bowl game results. And there you see number 23 UTEP. That's right, they were ranked, but they also got blown out in their bowl game, so that's enough to really make a guy mad, because that is the one loss that we sustained in our year when we lose our potential shot at another Rose Bowl title. So that is what I believe to be the peak for this Dynasty mode. I don't think it's going to get much better than that. I think that one shot we had at the Natty was probably our only shot, so we're pretty much just going to have to roll with it. North Texas somehow is number 2. We are North Texas's one loss, and they're number 2 above us. We are North Texas's one loss, and they're above us. Either way, okay, so Virginia Tech beats Ohio State in the Orange Bowl national title game. As we look over All-Americans, I'm just going to let the All-Americans shuffle through as I talk about the end of this series. We will cover more at the end of the video here. I wanted to compile a bit more stats here, like All-Americans. It was the same thing in the Northwestern one, and I just didn't. I don't even have your national champions for you, but they're all listed in these videos. So if you really want to know, you can just go back. I think Purdue has won the majority of them, honestly. I think Virginia Tech's played for a couple, and Texas too, who has fallen off a cliff here. And then I think the final national champions are really going to blow your mind here, unless they've already done it before, and I'm just forgetting that. But Bryce McCarthy is our first-year starter. He's a fifth-year senior, and he finally gets to start here. Not the best season, I guess, from one of our quarterbacks. Not what we expect here, but Riggs, our running back, puts up 1,200 yards on the ground and has 14 touchdowns. So we have 2,000-yard receivers as well. So only 37 yards receiving or passing for McCarthy, but he has two 1,200-yard receivers, which is just absolutely nuts, man. That's crazy for how potent this offense was. And still North Texas has got a better evaluation. Doesn't make sense to me. I don't really understand, but hey man, this game is broken. We've seen this game get broken. We just played a 10-2 USC who was ranked 14th in the nation. Okay, like that's college football 25 can't come soon enough. It cannot come soon enough. And yes, it will be on this channel. Best believe it will be. It will be on this channel because we're going to need a break from some of this brokedness as we look over some of our defensive leaders on the year, some of our big names and contributors for the year. A lot of first-year starters making their names known here, as our kicker has an absolutely horrendous year. Jeez, man. He's a freshman, though, so I guess to be expected, but that is just horrendous. I mean, that is just awful. What are we doing? 60%? That's probably... I was going to say why we lost anything, but that game we lost to UTEP was 9-21, so he was the only guy who was doing anything in that game. So we're going to look at the team standings now here, and once again, just rub it in that we are over North Texas, okay? So they finished with a better overall record since we lost our bowl game here, and I guess, yeah, so North Texas only played an 11-game schedule, so their 11th win was... Keep that in mind too, okay? So we finished the year 11-1 and we're ranked 3rd. North Texas finished then 10-1 and was ranked 2. Don't understand it. Well, they were 4, so they moved up, I guess, by beating Nebraska. So that things make sense now. I'm cool. I'm chill. I'm cooling off. Purdue is ranked 4th. TCU is 8. USC moves up to 9 after beating us, and we fall to 7. So moving in here to the top 15, a lot of familiar names here, some weird names like Toledo. BYU is here at 18 along with Utah. UNLV moves up to 20 after not being ranked. And then Rice, Buffalo, and UTEP along with Fresno State and Maryland round out the top 25. Fresno State and Maryland sneak into the rankings. So kind of a weird 20 to 25 that we're looking at here. So kind of weird that Ohio State got blown out the way that they did. Presumably they were perfect before that, but Virginia Tech was just having a year, I guess. So we are losing our top 2 receivers. Of course we are. And then, of course, Bryce McCarthy, because he's probably 27 years old now. He's also leaving along with Riggs, our running back, some big guys on the line, and, of course, some big defensive contributors as well. So it's not a massive class that we are losing, but it is a lot of key contributors, like every year. That's just how it works, because we just have such a weird load of talent all around the roster, so it's nothing to be shocked at anymore at this point. And now looking at our recruiting class, this is by far, hands down, my absolute best class, man. Look at that. You're not seeing the fall off from 5 stars, are you? Yep, keep looking. Nope, that's it. It's just 5 stars all the way through, baby. Through and through. And let's look at these at the top classes, and there you go. number 2 in the country with 13 blue chips. 13 blue chips, by far the most in the entire country. For some reason, that doesn't get us any higher. I guess Tennessee with their 5 4-stars maybe rounds out a better class just by sheer amount of prospects, but still, man, 13 blue chips is absolute insanity. Rice here as well, they're still up in here. They're still trying. Toledo as well. So look at some of the familiar names who were ranked in the top 25 before this. Purdue, who was 4th, and Kansas State, who was 5th. They drop all the way down by about the top 20. But Maryland, who snuck in, is still here in the top 25. So maybe Maryland is finally turning a corner, and they might finally be upgrading here their program, bulking up here finally. In 12 years of this dynasty, Maryland is finally throwing their hat into the ring along with Rice and some others. So here is a look at the training results for the roster across the board. I got to scroll down a little bit here. I always need to sort this by overall. I think it would probably make it a little bit easier to kind of digest and comprehend like what we're even looking for in the training results, you know, because obviously we want to see how the top performers and top skilled players on our roster are performing, because you're obviously going to get some breakthrough training results from like second and third stringers that really don't matter, but like what are the starters doing, right? Like how are they progressing? But I think as long as you have over 90 overalls, whether they have a moderate, minimal, or breakthrough increase through training, I think everything's going to be okay. I think our team is going to be fine. So we again already are fine roster wise, but we're going to go through and see if there's any people, any dead weight that we can probably cut anyway, because none of these guys are going to start past like the second line here. Our receiving core is still absolutely pathetic. I don't know why I can't recruit receivers with this team. I really don't know. It's been a problem that's plagued this entire dynasty. Maybe we would have better luck if I had a better receiving core at any point. I think even with Northwestern, I don't even think we ever had like an elite receiving core. We had good receivers, but I don't think we ever had like an elite receiving core. And so here at ULM, we've never had an elite receiving core. I think our best starter has always been like in the low to mid 80s at best. It's never been that great. So looking at the depth chart here, we can expect what names we're going to see here. Mayer's going to be our starting quarterback. Finch, you're a running back here. The receiving core just 81 and 79, and then it drops to 60. That's so bad, man. We're going to end up using like a backup tight end as like our 5th receiver in the depth chart. That's so gross, dude. Now I'm watching back the shortcomings, I guess, why this happened. You know what I mean? Why this was a problem, but I guess I'll use this time to ramble, I guess, about expectations for our final season. I'm trying to save any comments for the ULM series as a whole for the very end, because I do kind of go over the coaching record and stuff like that. But ultimately, you know, to call this the final episode without really fully addressing that beforehand is kind of awkward too. So I did kind of state after the Rose Bowl that I really don't think there's much else to accomplish with this Dynasty mode, which is the big reason why I'm just kind of ending it without doing, you know, a little bit more. 12 years I still think is a pretty long ways, you know, to go with a Dynasty, you know. That's over 20 episodes on the channel, so I think that's more than long enough, but it's just significantly shorter than Northwestern was, so I guess that's why I'm kind of like, you know what I mean? But no, this is still a full series. I just think we've really kind of reached the most that the game will let us do with ULM. I thought we'd be able to switch conferences, but I don't think we can in this game. I think that might be a later thing in 04, 05, so this is kind of where we're stuck, and that's kind of why I'm ending it, because I just don't think there's much more that we can accomplish and do with this Dynasty mode, you know, other than just keep running it back and eventually lose our way back to New Orleans Bowls and Houston Bowls, which I do not want to do. I want to win a national championship, but I don't think the game is going to allow it, because I've put together now 2 back-to-back seasons that you could have argued should got us back into the game, and it didn't. So we're going to move now into our 12th and final season at ULM here. We are ranked number 5 in the country. I think we were ranked 2nd last year, so again, ranked in the top 5, top 10. We were getting the nods from college football at large, but not when it comes to the bowl game. So either way, we pick up a massive win on the road against San Jose State, 44-27 to start things off on the year. We then pick up another humongous win over Troy State, who actually had a decent year last year. I think they were 7-5 and made it to a bowl game. But we beat them again. I think we play them every year at this point. And then our final road game to start off the year against Toledo, who was 2-0. That was kind of a tough game. We managed to win with a walk-off field goal, 27-24, before heading home to welcome the Lobos, New Mexico, the Lobos. I think I called New Mexico State the Lobos like a few episodes ago, and I just want to retract that, okay? I just want to insert a correction. But we do beat the Lobos 44-21 to get our 4th win on the year before beginning conference play against Akron. Arkansas State, who was undefeated when we played them last year, and they are struggling so far this year as we beat them 48-10 before getting into our bye week and opening things against Middle Tennessee State, who we also beat the snot out of. And now playing New Mexico State, the Aggies, who were 1-5. I think they were pretty bad last year when we played them. They're pretty bad most years when we play them, for being honest. It's another blowout victory over New Mexico State as we extend to 8-0 on the year with another humongous win at home against Akron, who we do play. We do play Akron, who's having a decent year as well. North Texas is not bad, but they're definitely not the same North Texas of years past as we pick up probably our biggest margin of victory over North Texas in this Dynasty mode. They're kind of salvaging their years. They get to 8-3, but we have already pretty much clinched the Sun Belt title yet again as we beat USF and our rival Lafayette and blow out Idaho. Normally that game's a bit of a shootout, but this year, which is a better Idaho team, I think they were, a 2-win team last year? So they managed to win 4 games, and we still blow them out, and our defense holds them to 3 points as we cruise our way to another perfect season 1 and another Sun Belt title. So we also pick up another Coach of the Year. I think it's the second or third time we've gotten that award, so that's pretty neat to get a few of those to put in the trophy case along with our Sun Belt title. And then a Receiver of the Year. I think we've had 1 or 2 Quarterback of the Year awards, so to get a Receiver of the Year, I don't think we've gotten one of those before. We might have gotten one, but it's crazy with how terrible our receiving core is to actually get that. It's almost like an insult by this game. Nothing in this game makes sense. I've said it 40 times now in the last 3 episodes. Nothing makes sense. So we're going to get an opportunity to go to the Orange Bowl. This year it's not the national championship. It was last year, but this year it is not. So we're just going to go to Miami and play in the Orange Bowl at Pro Player Stadium against the Terps of Maryland. So Maryland, we talked about, they snuck their way into the rankings last year, I think 23rd, and then they were in the top 25 for recruiting this year, and they're continuing their pace here. They won 10 straight games to get to 11-1 on the year and make it to the Orange Bowl, presumably winning, I guess, the Big East. They're in the Big East at this time, right? They're not in the ACC yet? Or were they always in the ACC? I'm not entirely sure. I would assume they're in the ACC, I guess, if we're in the Orange Bowl, but we are going to play against Maryland, and this is a more formidable opponent. Still kind of weird that they're 8th, though, that they're ranked 8th. I would assume that at 11-1 out of a big conference like Maryland, I would assume that would be good enough to get them at least in the top 5, you know what I mean? But I guess when you're us, it's kind of wasting a spot on us since we just don't lose, you know? That would just break the college football world if a team in the Sun Belt, in this era of Sun Belt, was like in the top 5 every single year, putting up perfect. I mean, it's basically Liberty now, right? Like Liberty is basically that team who's 12-0, 13-0 every single year by playing literally the worst schedule like every year, just defensively bad. So we at least have a North Texas. I don't even think Liberty has a North Texas version team. I guess maybe Sam Houston now. Not even them. UTSA. I guess it's the closest. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's pretty bad. So we are going to get into the Orange Bowl, our last bowl game of the series, so strap in for this one. It's going to be a wild one, as Maryland is already cooking at midfield. They're going to hand it off to their fullback, who's got some open space and cuts upfield. Houston, their fullback, and gets to the first down marker before being put on his booty on the grass. So it's a nice pickup by the fullbacks here, and it's already 2nd and 10 now for the Terps offense, as now they're going to go with the fake handoff, go with the option. The quarterback's going to cut upfield, find some open space. So it looks like he might have been dead to rights there on the edge. He was trying to set the edge and couldn't get there, and just cut upfield, just redirected. And that's a heads-up play by a quarterback here. You got to be able to make those plays. He was really just dodging his own offensive lineman. That was a really heads-up play by the AI there. Honestly, I gotta give the respect there to the Terps. So on 3rd and 4 now, just inside the red zone, Maryland, their quarterback again just shuffling around, trying to find some open space, and he finds an open receiver and picks up the first down for the Terps. So they're going to move it inside the 5-yard line here in a goal-to-go situation. On 2nd goal from about the 3-yard line, they're going to go with a pitch play, and the running back is going to cut upfield completely untouched, and he's going to get into the end zone for the first score of this game. So Maryland scores quick, and they really don't score quick. They burn a lot of time off in the first quarter on this drive here. It's just excellent clock management. But the point after, as I'm showing, which I never do, goes awry. I don't know what happened. I didn't notice in the opening screen here if it said how bad the wind was, because that's the only thing I can think of. So I'm showing a kickoff here. Do we have a kickoff return? Not quite, but it is an amazing return here, as open space is found and a burst of speed basically gets us past midfield. And White absolutely turns, a pretty deep kick here. Fields it at about the 6 or 7 yard line. Just a wide open space in the middle of the field here. Beautiful blocks he's picked up. Just didn't quite have the speed here. And that's typically why I try and set the fastest guy at kick return to try and, avoid stuff like that happening. But still, it's a humongous pickup here. But on offense, we cannot do anything with the opportunity as we stall out here on 3rd down. But we are aggressive. Lou Nips is aggressive. So we're going to keep the offense on the field for 4th and 5. And Mayer cannot connect with a receiver, and that is going to end our drive, our opening drive here of the game in very unceremonious fashion. So 6-0 is going to be your score after 1 quarter. So we're going to go with the pitch to the outside. It's a beautiful stiff arm, and now he cuts up field and picks up another probably 10 yards on a play that was essentially dead to rights in the backfield. He manages to stretch that into a 1st down and a little bit more, and that's Rich, the running back. I think I called our running back the wrong name in the last episode because I was getting confused with Maryland's running back in this video because I edited these videos like back to back, so both the names are just circling around in my head. And it's a massive pickup for Mayer as he gets this Indian offense inside Terps territory here, inside the red zone, rather. So we are now looking to knock on Maryland's door here and even up this game as much as possible. So on 1st and 10, Mayer's got to step up in the pocket, uncorks this one to the left side here to the tight end, who just had the last pickup, the last major reception on the other side of the field here, and he gets us inside the 5 yard line here on 1st and goal. We're going to send him in motion here, maybe look to go on the ground. It is a handoff yet again as he falls forward into the end zone, and it is a touchdown on the ground. So a rushing touchdown. We get one here from Finch, who manages to kind of weasel through here and drag one defender into the end zone, into our own end zone grass. So on our point after, we also are a little bit errant with the kick here, and that one was weird. That one didn't even look like it had enough leg. I don't know what's happening. Maybe it's a glitch in the system. This game still does glitch a couple times if you've noticed it, but And then on our very next kickoff, is it going to be a Maryland return? No, because the wind is going to take this ball completely out of play here. So if that was a punt, that would have been beautiful, but it's not. It's a kickoff, so that's going to be a flag. So after we just finally even up the game here with Maryland, we're going to give them excellent field position here to try and answer back before halftime. And so it is a humongous pickup by the Maryland offense as their quarterback absolutely uncorks and finds an open man across the middle in one-on-one coverage. He hauls that one in. It is a very impressive play for this offense. So, thanks to a penalty, is now 2nd and 15 for Maryland. But they're going to go on the ground with Ruiz, who's got some open space on the edge. Beautiful spin move. Throws about 2 Indian defenders out of their shoes before finally getting brought down, but not before picking up a first down. So this Maryland offense is continuing to roll, man. Just some flashy stuff. They got some cool guys, man. There's so much swag on this team, man. I don't know what it is. I just love watching this. And on the very next play, they find Barlow, their receiver, in the end zone on 3rd down. I guess it wasn't the next play, but on 3rd down, our defense managed to hold them to a 3rd down stop here, but was not able to pick up the stop. And it's a huge touchdown for Maryland. They managed to pick it up here. So they're going to take a lead. They actually do get the point after. So it is now 13-6 now over your Monroe Indians as we have less than a minute here in the first half. And Mayer takes all day to make a choice, and it pays off as he finds not even an open man. He's in double coverage, but he hauls it in somehow. So we are now in Maryland territory, deep in their territory. We flip the field, and with 30 seconds left to go, it is another contested throw, but our receiver comes down with it. It's beautiful, man. It's just beautiful. And now the time is moving here. We got to move quickly. We have to move fast if we want to get into the end zone. We need to get some points here before the half is over. Mayer is now set up here. We're trying to catch Maryland off their toes. He's going to drop back here. He's got a clean pocket, plenty of time to make a good choice, and he makes the wrong choice as he throws another contested ball, man. There were 2 receivers and 2 defenders in the area. It was pretty much a 50-50 jump ball, really, at that point, and it was a Maryland defender who had the heads-up play in the end zone to create the interception. So, but the half would come to a close. Maryland wouldn't do anything with the football, so 13-6 is your score still in the 3rd quarter. Maryland already burning off quite a bit of time here in the 3rd quarter as they've gotten the ball to about midfield, and they're going to hand it off to Houston, their fullback, who gets to the left side and cuts up field and gets a nice pickup on the ground. Maryland's been able to run the ball, not super well, but just efficiently. You know, they've just gotten some good production on a few plays. And so on that play, they tried to go to Ruiz out of the backfield, and that one's just kind of an awkward, bobbled around one. I think in the regular game, that probably would have been pass interference. But so on 4th down, they're going to bring out the kicking unit, and their kicking woes continue. I mean, both teams are having kicking woes, but that one was just, I wouldn't even have tried that. I probably would have punted that if that was what the field goal kick was going to look like. So it doesn't matter here as Maryland does get the ball back later on in this quarter here, and just taking all day to throw, the receivers got to come back to their quarterback to get it. And he manages to complete that pass here. Our defense was just not prepared to run for that long in the backfield. So on 3rd and 10 now, Maryland, we were able to force their offense into a 3rd down situation, a tough 3rd and long situation. Got to come up with the football somehow, and Garrison sends that one into the grass. So fortunately, we are able to withstand Maryland's onslaught on offense. But now we are on 3rd down and 10 as we cannot move the ball at all, and we desperately need to if we want any sort of opportunity to tie this game in. We have to move the football, and our receiver drops it right in the hands. Mayer hasn't been super accurate. He's made some dangerous throws, but that one was right on the money. It might have been out of bounds. I don't know, man, but that one just makes me mad. So on 4th and 10, this is really probably our last opportunity with only 1:45 left to go, and it is uncorked, and I don't even know if that was in bounds, man. I don't even know if that throw was in bounds. If it would have landed in bounds, either way, it got blocked. And so, basically, down to our last player, the clock is rolling. We can get a stop here. I don't know if we have a timeout, but still, I don't think Maryland can burn the rest of the time. But it doesn't matter because Ruiz gets into open space here. There's nobody back there to stop him, and he gets into the end zone, and that is going to cook our goose in this Orange Bowl as Garrison hands one off to Ruiz. Look at that, man. It just follows the blocks. Just beautiful blocking up front by Maryland, and they deserve that score. And honestly, they deserve this Orange Bowl because we did not come to play, and we lose yet again another big one. And this is honestly another contributing factor to why I wanted to end the series, because honestly, you know, I had this exchange, I think, with a commenter, or rather, someone just left a comment when I mentioned a couple episodes ago. I titled it like somehow we got extended, and you know, he pointed out the obvious, like, dude, like, you know, like you've won all these games with ULM, you know, one of the worst programs in history. Like, obviously, they're not going to fire you, which is true. But I was trying to put my head in the space here of, you know, like what would happen in real life. Like if I was able to build up the program to where it was and I couldn't win the big game, like how many big games could I lose before ULM's like, okay, we need a new guy now. Thanks for all your work, but we need to move on. So this is kind of where I think that would happen again as we lose our 2nd straight big game. So here's the contract extension here. They want us back in here. We've achieved all their goals, or at least some of them, most of them rather. So we were top 10 for 2 of the 3 years that they wanted. We won a conference title all 3 years, and we did not win the Natty, but it was one or the other, and so we managed to win the Sun Belt for 3 straight years, but we did not win a Natty. So, and of course, our prestige remains at 6 stars. We have not went backwards. We have not stepped backwards, but we are not going to take this. We are going to retire. We're going to call it quits. Lou Nips at 36-3 over the course of that last contract, and yeah, we're going to call it quits. But we are going to remain still in the season. We're going to look over things one last time to see how the team did and how college football as a whole did, because that's one of my favorite things. North Texas wins their bowl game and finishes off 9-5. Ew, gross, man. Just a terrible down year for North Texas. So, yeah, we got to end while we're still on top, man. Virginia Tech, your defending national champs, are 17th in the nation, and they lose their bowl game to Buffalo. Ew, I hate that. That was gross, man. Akron makes a bowl game. That's gross. Rice is number 2. And they played a 6-6 Rutgers. Yeah, this series needs to end. That made me mad. Ohio State runner-ups of the Natty last year. They win their bowl game here, and there you go. TCU is national champions. And not only that, but they won pretty convincingly over USC, who beat us last year. So this game is falling apart. It is absolutely falling apart. And we need to get out of it. We just need to get out of it. Oh, man, that is just absolutely nuts. So Garrison, who is absolutely cooking us up all game long, is your All-American quarterback. And then Patrick Robertson, who won the Receiver of the Year, he is an All-American with 1,400 yards on 90 receptions. What is happening? What is going on? Look at all the Rice players, the Rice Owls that are All-Americans. Yeah, this is nuts. This is nuts. See, this kind of brokenness never even happened in the Northwestern series. I mean, it kind of did. I mean, after all, Air Force made like 6 national title games. Like, that's broken. But at least the game was consistent with itself. I love the parity that's happened in the national title games in this Dynasty mode, but it has created for some of the grossest and nastiest outcomes possible. And now I officially hate it. I retracted. I officially hate it. So we do have a few All-Americans, though, which is pretty neat. I don't think we really had any last year, or at least I didn't highlight any if we did. or I wasn't paying attention when I was recording, if we did. So we get a few here in our final season as coach, and now we're going to look over our stats. So 500 attempts total for Ben Mayer, and he gets 3,900 yards, 30 touchdowns, 15 picks, man, not too bad. Redshirt senior, so that's his last attempt. Finch gets over 1,300 yards on the ground with 14 touchdowns. I think that might not be a school record. I think for what we've said, I don't know. We might not have had a better running back than that. Patrick Robertson is by and far our best receiver, and no one really comes close. Even Robert Schaefer doesn't even have 1,000 yards. He has half as many touchdowns, so not great receiving wise. But we knew that going into this. Benton has a good year. So does Case. A lot of guys who just making their first year starts here, but Bruce Reed has a good, nice little bounce back year from where he was. And then Jerry Garrett, that's probably the worst season on the O-line we've ever seen, bro. And it's a huge regression for him as well. Byron Parsons leading the team in tackles with 86. Big year for him, man. Big year. He's a sophomore. And he also leads the team in TFLs because, of course, he does. Why wouldn't he? Trevor Brock, who I think was also an All-American, is second on the team. And then Andrew Lee, our left end, leads the team in sacks. So by just a few sacks. So just a few big names on defense who are producing. And I think those guys are all underclassmen, so they would all probably be back here for the following year. So finally we get some recurring talent, and I'm leaving. I'm calling it a career, so that's pretty fitting, isn't it? Another 60% season kicking wise, just, I don't know, dude, whatever, who cares, just get out of here, just get rid of it, you know what I mean, just wash it all away. So let's look at the standings and polls, which is the fun part. This is the fun part. So we sit atop the Sun Belt again. North Texas, I'd say they were 9-5. They were 9-3. But North Texas finishes 9-3, just one game away from us in the conference here, but 9-3 overall. So that's a pretty big steep fall off for where we were, finishing 12-1, and that one came in the last game of the year. So, that'll show you North Texas. Take that. Well, there's two perfect teams in college football, Rice and TCU. The state of Texas is winning, not in the way that you think, but they're winning. USC finishes fourth after dropping from 2, losing, obviously. We sit behind Utah. Gross, because we lose. And then North Texas is here at 13 to kind of close things out. Toledo and Buffalo, man, two MAC teams back-to-back. Virginia Tech drops all the way to 17th for losing to Buffalo. Purdue, who's once a big perennial contender, at 22, along with Texas, who drops to 22. Memphis and Texas A&M and Florida State sneak into the rankings, and UTEP, who was 23rd last year, finishes off here at 24. So UTEP, I guess, is coming up. Good thing we didn't play him again this year. We probably would have lost. So finally, I'm going to end things off here looking at our coaching record. 116-37 overall all time at ULM. I think a lot of that 37 came in the first 4 seasons. We were undefeated regionally on TV. We only lost one nationally televised game, which is interesting. 4-7 bowl record is the big thing I was talking about when I was just kind of ranting about when would they fire me. I think a 4-7 bowl record, even with the 116-37 record, maybe not grounds for firing, but you got to talk about it. You know what I mean? That's like what's his name, Franklin with Penn State right now. That's the same situation he's in. His record's probably similar, and his bowl record is probably just as similar. You know what I mean? It's his record against top 5 and top 10 schools. That's what I feel like this is. So, but that's going to end the ULM series, guys. Thank you so much for watching. The next series I'm going to do in college football is going to be in college football 25. If I can figure it out, if I can just record on my same setup now, then I will. So hopefully I can do that, man. And once again, thanks for watching, guys. And hey, go Indians. Hope to see you guys in Monroe.